talk. We want to hear from Lester and Leslie. Let's talk. We're on a journey, come along with me. Let's talk. We're bringing a new perspective. Let's talk. Let's talk with Lester and Leslie.
Hey, Leslie.
Hey, Jay.
This is the Let's Talk.
Yeah, so let's talk.
Let's talk for a second.
So, why are we doing this?
Child, because we don't have nothing to do on Sunday. We just start going to church. No?
That'll definitely be an episode.
We're going to talk about the Black church, absolutely. But I know for me, I wanted to do this because, first of all, let me ask you. So I hate to answer a question with the question, but that's what I'm going to do. Outside of me, do you find yourself having hour-long conversations, 2-3 hour-long conversations with anybody else?
Very few people, though. Very few, like family and really close friends.
Yeah, me too. I do tend to have, long conversations with the people who I talk with. It's not a handful of people. It's usually family and family. Like
Family.
family. And when we end up talking, it's always at least a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours, something like that. And specifically with you and I, when we talk, we're usually talking a lot of life and stuff, a lot of dating stuff, a lot of life realizations. We're both in therapy, so we are able to, chat about that experience, which is really unique. I feel like have a lot of unique experiences, and we're both African American, and according to Ancestry and me, probably because it's down the line,
Yeah,
way of Nigeria
or Yoruba.
Which
Yes,
is in Nigeria.
We're that close. We're in the same neighborhood again.
That's right. So, for me, that's why I wanted to do this, and we have been talking about this for years. I want to say at least since COVID broke out. It was like, well, we're going to be in the house, so we need to find some creative things to do. And I feel like that may have been when we first started talking about it. I don't know whether you remember.
Oh, geez. You know what? I'm going to give myself some grace because that was like 5 years ago. And a lot has happened to me in 5 years, I'm going to tell you. But yeah, we were talking about doing a podcast with, our life experiences because not only do we have the same demographics, we have the same geographics and the same educational background, and our parents, both military and involved in the church. And we have like a lot of the things that happened to you happened to me and vice versa. And so because of the fact that we even grew up in neighboring suburbs, went to private school, went to the same high school, and like ended up going into neighboring universities and it was all unplanned. And so like I feel that because of the uniqueness of our relationship, like how we've been friends and how we've been placed, geographically in each other's lives, is just, something that's, we got to talk about it because it's crazy. We do.
Yes. And I feel like you have, even more so than me, a more nuanced Black experience than I, and I'm always interested to hear it. We've had dinners and conversations, and where we've talked ad nauseum about different experiences in your lens, even from mine. So even though we've got like a lot of similar situations, there's some unique nuances I think that you carry that I feel like I don't hear enough of that perspective out there.
Yeah. Because a lot of time I had grappled with, my identity and my proximity to Blackness, because I've always been told, oh, you sound white, or, you sound educated. And it was just like every negative thing was always attached to being Black. And so I was even accused of just like, oh, you're just trying to be white to, XYZ. And I'm just like, whatever. And then there was a whole lot of assimilationist culture, I guess, like in my household, where it wasn't to align yourself with whiteness. It was just to align yourself away from a Black stereotype as much as you could.
My God, today.
Yeah. So there was a lot of things that I ended up, growing up with, where it's like any time that I wanted to watch like a Black show or outside of the Cosbys, oh my God, the things we know now, just those shows or whatnot. It was always, I feel like from my parents' perspective, it was just anything that touched on anything that was close to stereotypical Black people, just it was bad. Stay away from it. Even the music, all of that. But they watched Amos and Andy, so I was wondering. I was just like, okay, well, that doesn't make all the sense, but whatever. But yeah, because as a kid, I was in a middle income. Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah.
House. We had cable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. So. What could I say? We were in the suburbs.
Right.
There, like the loudest thing was a train. We had a house like that was right next to like this big giant train track, and that's what woke me up at night. The stereotype is gunshots wake you up at night,
especially here in Chicago.
Yeah. It was a freaking freight train.
Not to get too deep in the woods, I was just talking to one of my agents at work, and I just started this job, so I'm doing a lot of the introductory calls and introducing myself to my clients. And they're all based in like Washington and Minnesota. Most of my portfolio's in Washington. And one of them was like, oh, you're from Chicago. I heard about the
pow pow.
About the violence. I heard about it. And there's always this whole conversation. Yeah, it's kind of bad everywhere. We're not actually even the worst when it comes to crime rate per capita. If you Google it, depending on what sources you're looking at, it's, Mississippi or Detroit, Detroit, or places like that they have, so it's always this conversation of trying to like correct how the media has portrayed us. But in any case, yeah, so you've got that nuanced kind of look. I've had moments of feeling like separated from the culture, but it's, and we're going to talk about this. I feel like most of the whole process of growing up, you find out that a lot of this isn't like, it's not intentional. It's more systematic in ways of survival that our ancestors, and when I say ancestors, I'm not talking about like, 4 or 5 generations ago. I mean, like literally our grandparents,
yeah,
parents,
sheesh,
right? That close in proxy, the things that and how they looked at proxy to whiteness as a means of survival. I believe that's been the bigger picture, but we're definitely going to get into all that. So we talked about why we're doing this is the nuance and the parallels that we share, and we're going to get into very particular instances of that. But I really like this last point that you, because it reflects something that's on all your socials. What do you got on here?
Because we want to. That's it.
We grown and we do what we want to.
Yes.
Whatever, I do what I want. It's that.
I think I have that on my profile too. Whatever, I do what I want.
Do what I want. We are living the life of Cartman right now.
Yeah, and honestly, it feels good.
With my Stone Cold shirt.
I know, I love it so freaking much. Yo, the Attitude Era was toxic AF, but you know what? We had a good ass time.
Oh my God.
It was fun.
of us. It was definitely a cultural moment. We got to have some episode we talk.
I know, right? We're going off, and this is why we end up talking for like 3 and 4 hours at a time. So, Jay, let's now that we know why, let's go into the who. So, who are you here?
Okay, so who am I?
Yeah.
I am an aspiring adult. Right? I am still trying to figure out this adulting thing. There's a few key things that I feel like were given to me from my parents that have helped me survive thus far. I'm an aspiring adult. Part of that package comes with, so I'm a professional musician. I've been and let me tell you what I mean by professional musician. I've been singing all my life, but I've been collecting checks since 2009.
Ching.
Filing it against taxes and it being like being looked at as a independent contractor, I believe is how the government looks at folks like me. But that's only been a portion of my career and income. The other part of it is corporate America. I work in corporate America and I have for just as long as I've been professionally singing, almost 15 years. Currently, I am a territory sales manager for a Fortune 500 insurance company, and I have been in insurance my whole professional career. So it's one of those things where I know it just as well as I do music, because that's what's been paying most of my bills. How about you, Leslie? Who are you?
Well, I would like to know that myself. Constantly.
An aspiring adult as well.
Yeah, because a lot has changed like since we decided we were even like talking about doing this in my life. By leaps and bounds in 5 years. Oh my God, so many, and I have resigned myself to. I need to tap into me and know more about me and to be more open to growth instead of holding on to a vision that's probably not, mine. That's probably someone else's version or vision of me or for me. And so me, I'm a new adult, I guess, in my middle age. And it's even wild. I have a child that's almost about to be an adult. God dang. Yeah, right. So I need to figure it out real quick. But I'm open. I say myself, like, I am an aspiring comedian. Aspiring right now. I have done theater and got paid to do it a few times. And yes.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. I'm a big tea drinker, but not spiller. So
okay, so tell me, what does that mean?
I am not one to tell a whole lot of business. You know what I'm saying? Like people can come to me in confidence for things, and like that's even been my work wheelhouses where I handle a lot of personal identifiable information, and you won't know. Like I keep everything tied to a vest.
You say personal, are you talking about your 9 to 5?
Yeah.
Or as I call it, Clark Kent jobs.
Yeah, our Clark Kent jobs. But I guess like during the day I work in HR as a contractor. So this is something like my creative outlets are, the theater. I am a part of a playwrights group where I'm tapping into writing some plays, some monologues, some stories. I'm also like trying to get some shows started as far as like maybe something else on a podcast. I don't know. But like I'm keeping my creative wheelhouse open and I'm tapping into that right now. And that is another part of who I am, is learning and growing as an adult. I mean, that's probably another reason why we're doing this too, is to keep track of our growth.
That's a good way of looking at like capturing growth and where we're at. This is so if for nothing else, this is a time stamping time.
Yeah.
If you will.
It's like a collaborative diary.
Yeah.
That's really dope. And then I guess like I want to do this because I want to just bring a new perspective of another, like, one of my goals is to just bring a new perspective of a Black experience. Not I don't know if
Right.
there is the
It
one.
shouldn't be, because we're not a mob.
Right. And I want to bring the nuance back
Yeah.
because people are not understanding that, one experience that differs from another does not discount your Blackness.
That's right.
Because once I got to understand that, I stopped thinking that I was less Black.
Period. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to know, like, and that all has to do with learning more about myself and learning about myself in my authenticity, in my most truth, in my most meanest, in my existence. And I want to honor my existence by living in that truth that I have given. You only get one, know?
Right. It's a constant growing tree, which is really dope as well. So you always have something to report out and talk about and learn. I personally believe that when we stop learning, that's when it's time to leave.
Yeah.
So that's good that you got that perspective. You mentioned a fun fact. I didn't get to talk about my fun fact.
That's your fun fact.
Your fun fact, just to be clear, you said big tea drinker, not spiller.
Yeah.
Which that's code word for she could keep your secrets. Really good. Because I would definitely, I'm not going to say I'm the opposite. I like to talk, and it takes so much for you to be in a space with me where I trust you like that, where I call you a friend. Like, I don't just kind of throw that word out there when I'm speaking seriously. So like you got to pass all kind of barriers to be friendly with me. And so once you're there, it's like we're all one family. But anyway, fun fact, I am a queer Black male, specifically pansexual. Now, what is pansexual? I pulled this definition from the Trevor Project, which is an organization that I see all the time on queer media. And they also do really good things in the kind of queer spaces, queer community. They're not perfect. We're not going to get into that discussion on this podcast, but they are a dope collective, the TrevorProject.org. So according to them, a pansexuality is defined as an attraction to people of any gender or to people regardless of their gender, with the preface pan coming from the Greek prefix for all. Pansexuality isn't a more evolved or politically correct form of bisexuality. It isn't more or less trans/non-binary inclusive. It's just a word to describe one kind of sexual orientation. Basically, if you're attracted to people of more than one gender or all genders, you may be pansexual. Some people may use the words bisexual, attraction to more than one gender, and pansexual interchangeably, and others may use only one word exclusively to describe themselves. So that's the definition according to the Trevor Project. And I wanted to grab a definition that's out there because one of the arts I feel like that's been lost, especially at this time, I don't know what they're teaching in college. We used to write our assignments, our papers. We used to have to like fact check our work and had to have like
sites.
Yeah, cited. Like every piece of work had to, like the last page of the work had to have like cited resources.
A bibliography.
Looked up and said, okay, this part comes from this book, from this person who researched this. I feel like that is a lost art now. Like people can now just talk about how they feel without, and then they've got all this false information that's out there readily available. And then when you mix that with algorithms, you know, you will end up getting information fed to you that just specifically feed to the thoughts that you already have about things. And that's not always correct. In fact, most of the time it's not.
Yeah, it's just headlines.
It's just headlines for clickbait. They're, you know, with the algorithms, like I said, you know, they will put bits and pieces of information together that they know will grab your interest. And so you end up reading a bunch of stuff that's false, or the information is skewed. And now, you're believing the earth is flat and that Democrats eat babies. But that's another conversation for another day. But anyway, what is pansexuality? One of the things they talk about is hearts, not parts. That's generally what it is. You just kind of fall for people based off of the energy that you get from them, not necessarily what sexual parts they have. If you like to know more, Google is free. Go for I'm not about, maybe we'll make an episode out of, sexuality, and this is not going to be it. I'm just letting you know just a little bit about me. And then you had mentioned your goal for the show. I have a goal for the show as well, is to try to share an intimate and unique perspective of the Black experience from my own lens. You'll find that there's a lot of, not just from me, but also from Leslie, you'll find out from both of us that there's a lot of ideas that we were raised in that we're still kind of grappling with. The process of unlearning is it's a journey.
Oh God, yeah.
It's a journey, not necessarily a destination in a lot of cases. So we're going to talk about that as well. But that, I wanted to throw that out there before we move on to the how we know each other.
Well,
Leslie, what's your perspective? How do you know me?
How do I know you? Okay, so you came onto my timeline when we were, I think I was a sophomore in high school, and it was a fall performance. What was it? It was I Remember Mama. Was it I Remember Mama? Or was it?
I just remember I was a doctor. I Remember Mama, it might have been.
That was my freshman year.
I Remember Mama.
Because I feel like I was 15. It was fall.
It always starts.
It's always starting in the fall. But anyway.
Year starts.
Maybe it was it the musical?
Well, so how?
Because we were in that too.
Is that the fall was always like the plays. And then the spring was the musical, because they obviously say fall play, spring musical.
Right.
So I Remember Mama, I believe, was a stage play, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to say that was it. There's two things that stick out to me about that play, even though I don't remember.
You don't remember Mama?
The title. I don't. And that's in general, you're going to know that about me. I am better with remembering stories and things around things and knowing like titles and names. It's weird. Probably a disorder I need to look into. But two things I remember about that first play. One, I was a doctor that just had a walk-on role. And we'll get into that doctor thing in the uniform. And then the second thing is there was a mention in the script, Black, and it was used in a negative way to describe something. How I remember that is because my mom came to the very first production, even though all I had was a walk-on role, and she never came back. And she felt, and let me preface, my mom comes from like Arkansas. My dad was from Mississippi. There is a level of sensitivity that I have around race-related conversations that my mom had. As an adult, I realized they have had a much higher tolerance for, things that could be considered racist or racist appearing. My parents had a much higher tolerance of that kind of stuff than we did, obviously, because they've been through a lot worse in terms of kind of like race things in their upbringing that we didn't go through. So I say that because for my mom to have gone to that play and to have gotten offended by it says a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's not one that's easily offended. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. That's just so strange to me. I guess maybe you should ask her directly. Why was the real reason, or why was the reason that she never came? Did she tell you that?
She told me.
She told you?
That,
okay.
That first play that she did, I'm coming directly from what she said. Cause of course we
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah. I was like, I'm doing
I'm
this
just
other
distracted because I'm just like trying to find. I'm just like, okay, it was I Remember Mama because
it was I Remember Mama.
Yeah.
That would have been your sophomore year fall.
Yeah. So like I think there was a part where they were talking about like one of the dark uncles married a dark woman or something like that. And that's what I was casted as. The beginning
you
of
were the dark woman. Oh my God.
it feels like they really wanted to do this play and they were just like, oh, that one.
Right.
We can do it because she'll do it. She'll do it.
And
She talks nice.
She fits the part. She's dark.
Yeah.
And the rest of us. So let me talk about that for
I
2
gotta
seconds.
fact check that for real, but that's what I remember. That's how I remember Mama. Jeez. It has to be in there.
Oh my God. But no, so.
And then we did My Fair Lady also. Were you in My Fair Lady too? Because we were singing.
Musical, right?
Yeah, it was in the spring.
Yeah, I've been through every production from my junior. I think it was only one that I did not do. But anyways.
How we know each other.
We know each other is literally after auditioning for that, my freshman year for that play and being casted as that extra when we were in rehearsals, I walked into the rehearsal room and there was only 2 black faces that I saw. One was a young lady who was in my grade, who I didn't know that well. And then one was this upperclassman, and that was Leslie. So we connected.
I was a sophomore. I wasn't.
Right. You were a sophomore.
Yeah.
I was a freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were upperclassman compared to me.
Well, I was in a class ahead of you, but upper class is junior and senior.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought upper just meant someone who was
in
class
ahead. No.
Yeah. Okay. I miss you so well. Amen.
Amen.
She was older than me, right? And she was in a class higher than me. So that was, and I didn't know then that that'd be something that I would run into for the entirety of my career. You get hired at these corporate places and you're sitting in a meeting and there's not a lot of people that look like you around the table. And when there are, there tends to almost be this kind of like camaraderie that you instantly have.
An unspoken bond.
Yeah. I say usually because that doesn't always happen. Mm-hmm. I've experienced being in spaces and the person is just like a little weird, but we'll maybe go into that when we talk about corporate America.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I know Leslie, and I've just kind of been attached like a barnacle ever since.
Because not only we connected in the arts program,
right,
like of high school. So we were in music. You did a lot of choir. I was in the band.
But you were in acapella too.
Yeah, I was.
So we were both in acapella.
So band tour, remember? Band tour to Vegas.
Acapella tour to Vegas.
Yeah. So we connected a lot through the arts.
Yes.
And we still have that connection.
We still have
through the arts.
Even after all this time.
Yeah.
And to me, another thing too, and I told Leslie this a lot of times, and every time I reference our relationship, when I saw her on the stage, the fact that she was able to disconnect from, the person who she is and really live into these characters, that was so, it still is even today astonishing to me when you're able to fully kind of live into something that someone wrote on a piece of paper in a way that's like, oh my God, this is somebody totally different. Yeah, like it's almost like blacking out. I get to see you black out on cue. It's amazing to me that you're able to do it so convincingly. So I'm always in awe of her acting prowess.
And you know what? Like seeing you on stage, oh my God, how you can just grip a room. It's just wild to me. And it's like, I might be tapping into different characters, but it seems like you are tapping like deeper into you.
Yeah.
That like you exude this level of confidence and just having fun and all of that. And I'm just like, I know he is tired, but when he comes off that stage, he's going to be like, whew. But like, cause that to me requires like so much energy or a different type of energy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, I could not do that for as long as once after that first break, just pay me so I can go home.
I
You know?
appreciate that. I've always
Yeah.
liked entertaining people.
Like anytime, the professionals that I know, and like that's another thing, is like our circles are kind of huge.
Yeah.
You know? And like a lot of
Chicago is ridiculously
interconnected.
The talent pool here, that's why it always amazes me, like how we're not like, they call us the second city compared to New York, but we really should be this should be in Atlanta, in LA, New York, like the talent here. And it just always seems, I've heard someone talk about this, like anytime someone seriously moves into their entertainment career, whether it be acting, modeling, singing, whatever it is, and they're from Chicago, they go to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where they really make stuff happen. But I really feel like Chicago should be a hub.
It should be. And like we got a soundstage now. They're learning.
Yeah.
They're learning, but yeah.
Maybe in our later generations it will become a hub, but anyways.
But do we really want it to be like a Los Angeles?
Yes. I've only been there once, but I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself. I know people say it's like a crazy little town and people there are quirky or whatnot, but if you're a capitalist, which all of us have been raised and ingrained in this capitalistic society, you're looking at results, right? So regardless if it's a kooky town, they get results. They get most of our entertainment filters through LA, and we should be just as big. We have some amazing vocalists here, actors, actresses, photographers. It's people here that have built careers that mimic mainstream artists, and we have the tools to produce content that is just as rich and in high quality as your mainstream artists. But I'm going on a rant. Chicago's dope. I love my city. I love my city, and I love the talent here. The talent that I get along with, the talent that I've had run-ins with, I love them all.
Yeah, we were highly a cultural melting pot here, and I love it. And it's a lot of the reasons why I couldn't move out of state, the way that my parents wanted me to. But that's a thing too, and it all happened 5 years ago.
My God.
So
COVID.
Yeah, we have those artistic bonds that we just kept through over 20 years of knowing each other. No, even more than that. Oh my God, more than that. 25 years.
You got to count the time that we were actually in school.
I am.
And that's where the bigger number comes from. When you think about just graduation, you're like, oh.
Right. I'm just like, wait, go beyond that. Which is wild to me. So,
on the next episode of Let's Talk with
Lester
and Leslie.
Well, hopefully we will find a way. We just, what it is, when we get older, it's just about you got to be more intentional in everything.
Everything.
And that's the part of adulting that's some bullshit.
Right. And it also, I feel like the overthinking part and anxiety and all of that is we weren't really raised